goal is to basically make sure that if someone says that, okay, I have been diagnosed with diabetes, the first thing that comes to their mind is, okay, let me try Fitterfly. So we want to become the first line of therapy for all chronic diseases. You can't build a company, a health tech company without working with the doctors, right? You can't compete with them, so you need to work with them. Trust is always binary. It's either 0 or 1. We are allocating our 15% of the budget to branding on Facebook and YouTube.
So for all our viewers, firstly, let me just introduce our next guest. So we have Vineet from Fitterfly. He's currently the Vice President Growth at Fitterfly, and he's been working there for around 1.5 years, if I'm not wrong. And after completing his graduation from MTI Gurgaon in 2012, Vineet has over a decade of experience in the growth and digital marketing space. So now, Vineet, just to give you a background of Road to Growth, so it's a podcast series that we started like very recently.
Okay.
And basically we discuss a variety of topics ranging from digital to growth to sustainable solutions, and with leading experts from various segments of the industry. So now our next segment is Fitterfly's journey and Fitterfly's growth. So we'll just quickly dive into the questions.
Sure.
And before we get into the technicalities of the strategies and the growth that Fitterfly has seen over the last few years, let me just start with a little bit of a background about Fitterfly. That how did the idea generate firstly? What was the vision or the mission that this brand was started with, and how far you are along on that journey that the founders or the initial team first envisioned for the brand?
Sure. So Fitterfly was conceptualized in 2016, right?
Okay.
And at that time, we started as a nutritional database company, right?
Okay.
Where we were creating nutritional database, where we created around 37,000 recipes, right? And they were broken into macro and micronutrients,
okay,
right? And the software which we built, it had functionalities of nutritional assessment for various critical conditions, right? So at that time, company was very different, right? We worked with a lot of pharma companies, right? Like Abbott. We worked with FMCG companies like Nestle also, right? We pivoted to digital therapeutics in 2020. That is when the COVID struck, right? So what we did was we basically created a DTX engine on top of this nutritional database. With the sole mission of creating a lifestyle modification program which can help people manage their chronic conditions beyond your medicines and clinical and the help that they get from the doctors, right? So our founder is a doctor by profession, by qualification, right? So the goal was to create programs solely focusing on the outcomes bit, right? So see, many of the companies, they basically focus on fad diets like keto, IF, right? Which give you short-term outcomes, but these are not sustainable for a long term, right? So what we do is very different from that. We use a mix of technology and human intervention. So the way our programs are differentiated from our competitors is that we have a very personalized approach, right? And we use technology to support that, right? So in our programs, we use the CGM sensor, right? And basically what we do is we map those readings with the food items that people are eating, right?
And this is the fluctuations on a daily basis.
Absolutely, right? So since we have India's biggest nutritional database, we can map macro and micronutrients, and we know exactly what is fluctuating in blood sugar. Now with that data, what our nutritionist does is they basically define your meal plan. This is what you are eat, right? What you are comfortable with. So for a Maharashtrian, the meal will be different. For a Gujarati person, the meal will be different. It will be very customized, right? And even though our flagship is our IP, the repeat rates that we get are because of the coaches, right? Because of they go well and beyond the usual to care for the members that are enrolled in the program, right? Okay. And then I think that is where we differentiate mostly from other players in the market, right? And if you go to Google, right, and search us, right, we are the highest rated DTX company. We have a rating of around 4.7 with around 500 reviews, right? None of the other companies has such reviews. And these data points, they are very evident from the re-enrollment rates, referrals that we receive, because when you enroll a person and that person has outcomes, he refers 5 more people.
Yes.
Because
word to mouth matters a lot in
absolutely in industry such as this. So and this is a very unique growth strategy that we are working on, and of course there's still a long way to go, but we are working on that.
Yeah. So So diving straight into the growth and the strategy talks, how has Fitterfly differentiated itself from other health tech startups in the market, and how has this in specific contributed to your growth? What was the USP or the differentiator?
So, like I mentioned, right, the USP is, so we were the first to create the meal mapping algorithm in the industry, right? Other players have come into the market, but they are using the same algorithm that we are using. We were the first to create that, and what we do is basically that meal mapping algorithm enables us to understand what a person is eating, right? And we basically help them to understand this food is good for you, bad for you, right? And on top of that, our coaches, right? So in our programs, we offer you 3 coaches. One, there's a nutritionist, there's your physiotherapist, and there is a psychologist, right? Okay. So unlike other programs, so in India, mental health is something that people ignore.
People overlook often.
Absolutely. So, but your stress, your sleep quality, that matters a lot.
Especially in your overall physical health as well.
And for people especially with chronic diseases. So that matters a lot. So that is where our psychologists come into the picture. We call them success coaches because people don't like the word psychologists, right? And of course we have physiotherapists also who basically plan a proper exercise regime for you basis your age, your comfort level, right? We do a proper pain assessment, right? When the program starts, your upper body strength, lower body strength, and then post that we plan that exercise routine for you. Right. So all these 3 coaches, right, along with the technology intervention, I think that is where our USP is. So so think of it us as a personal coach, right? Personal gym trainer.
A holistic coach.
A personal gym trainer. So when you go to a gym, right, there's a general trainer and there is a personal trainer, right? So we basically push people, right, to their limit to get outcomes, right? So I think this personalization has helped us differentiate, and accordingly we are getting a lot of re-enrollments, a lot of referrals, right? And these are just word of mouth, which helps reduces our customer acquisition costs in the longer term.
Yeah, I'm sure. So like you said, okay, so this entire model that you were discussing was started in 2020. And we all know the entire industry took a big hit in 2020, Correct. Especially healthcare.
Correct.
So how has Fitterfly adapted its growth marketing strategies to changes in the healthcare industry and user behavior during and after the COVID-19 pandemic?
So I'll just talk about we developed this program during the COVID, right? So the start of the COVID was spent mostly on designing the program, right? Because we took special care when we were designing the program, right? In terms of how the coaches will interact with the members, the meal mapping IP that we have, right? So that took a lot of time to design. Post that, we started the growth journey from 2021 mid, right? So initially we started with the digital marketing ads because that is the first place that you start getting leads. We ran ads on Facebook, Instagram, Google search, some bit of YouTube, right? We got initial traction, right? At that time we had 3 months program, just 3 months program, and we had 2 types of program. One was in obesity and one was diabetes, right? Because these were the 2 areas that we wanted to focus upon. Post that, what we realized was that people are again re-enrolling into the program, and we talked to a lot of doctors also, and the hypothesis then came along that people need 6 months and 12 months program. So 3 months is not enough to sustain an outcome, right? So then basically we recently launched 6 months and 12 months, 6 and 12 program, and it's called Fitterfly Diabetes Prime. And India, being India where touch and feel is very important, so earlier we didn't have a welcome kit in a 3 months program, so we had introduced a welcome kit also,
even for a 3 months program,
even 3, 6, 12 months, right? Where we the welcome kit is very beautiful. It has a sensor in it, it has a glucometer in it, then strips, right? Proper brochure to help you understand how to enroll into the program. And then we have partnered with a lot of players where we have samples also into the program, right? Which are friendly to the people who are having diabetes, right? Low carb foods, high protein. So that is there. So this strategy has changed a bit from 3 months to 6 months and 12 months. That is changed. And in terms of...
So this was based on, I think, feedback.
Yes, this absolute feedback. So we saw a high re-enrollment rate also, right? And from a business perspective also, see, 3 months program had a price of around 7,000-8,000, right? And with the sensor, it was 10K, right? And our CACs were a bit on a higher side. But then we realized that in order to make this viable from a unit economics point of view, we need to increase our lifetime value, LTV. And then we pivoted to 6 months and 12 months. From a longer term perspective, what we have done is we have started focusing on SEO. So that is one where we have started focusing on blog, right? We are doing a lot of content. So every month 20 to 25 blog articles are there. The initial response is very, very good. That is where we are focusing on. And one more thing that we have started doing is we have designed a lot of nurture journeys, because every month we receive X amount of leads. Now there's after the conversion person, there are a lot of people who are interested, but at that time they're not sure whether to purchase the program or not. So we keep nurturing them, right? We send them relevant materials in terms of patient testimonials, case studies, right? Tips to manage diabetes in terms of what to eat, what not to eat. And we have recently launched a community also, where we are engaging these folks. A WhatsApp community we have launched. So all these initiatives are part of the growth marketing strategy that we are doing.
Okay. Oh, that's quite insightful. So the third one would be, how has Fitterfly leveraged data and analytics to identify and implement successful growth strategies, and what lessons can other businesses learn from this approach? So I think one can be a very data-backed decision that you took, like you just mentioned, is increasing the 3-month care plan to 6 months and 12
Absolutely.
months. And what were the other such decisions that you took at your end?
So,
primarily arising from data.
So see, when you talk about the healthcare industry, health tech, right? Companies have not used the data to their benefit. But I think in the last 3 to 5 years, that trend has been changing, right? If I talk about Fitterfly, I think we use data in 3 forms. First is basically when a person shows interest in our program. So we have defined a diabetes management calculator where we ask them details about till what time they have been diagnosed with diabetes, family history, last HbA1c levels, any comorbidities that they have, right? Based on that, we recommend them the right program, right? And this backend logic has been built based on analyzing last 10,000 members. So that is one form data where we use. Second is when the person gets enrolled into the program. So the meal mapping technology that I was telling you about, right? That's the second form of data that we use, where we map the macro and micronutrients with your blood sugar readings, and that helps us a lot. And the member also gets to know, okay, I have eaten mango in the evening, so my blood sugar has risen. And it's very so. In our earlier program, in 3 months, we didn't have a sensor with real-time insights.
You get to know on a real-time basis, right?
Yes. So now that we have that sensor, so basically what we have built that
CGI sensor.
We have built that functionality in the app. So it's a CGMS sensor, continuous glucose monitoring sensor, right? And basically you can scan that sensor with our app only. You don't need a reader for that. We have built that functionality in the app only. So earlier in our 3-month program, 7 months before this, right, we did not have that functionality. It was a pretty tedious process where our phlebotomists used to visit their home with a reader. They used to scan, then the readings need to go to the app. So we are moved from all. Now it's very, very simple. No phlebotomist is needed, right? You just apply the sensor that you receive in the kit on your arm. You just scan with the app and you get the readings. You get all the insights on the app, all the graphs. You can see how it is varying, right? So that is one way that you're using data. And third data is basically, and that is I think where we differentiate from other companies, is our research and publications. So we are very focused on that, right? We are one of the very few companies who has published 5 abstracts in ADA. So ADA is American Diabetes Association, right? So in 2021 and 22, we had published around 50 abstracts, right, in national and international conferences. And all these research is done on basically weight management, glycemic control, how to manage the time in range, right? So all these publications are there, and we really take pride in that. And because of this also, many doctors want to work with us, right? So in the meanwhile, we are focusing on B2C, but somewhere down the line, what we realized was that we need to work with doctors also. Because you can't build a company, a health tech company, without working with the doctors, right? You can't compete with them, so you need to work with them, right? So we have built a physician partnership vertical. We are working with around 300 doctors, where they are referring their patients to us. So all that has been going on.
We were discussing in a country like India, people place a lot of trust in their family doctors, in the person.
Absolutely.
So if they are recommending you to them, then they'll have, greater trust on you as well, higher credibility, and then they'll
absolutely. So conversion percent from physician partnership vertical, it's around 5 times of the normal B2C. So a person who is coming directly from these Google ads, Facebook ads, and if a doctor is referring that patient, the conversion is around 5x of that.
I'm sure healthcare revolves entirely around
Yes,
trust.
yes.
Okay, so moving on to the next one. Okay, just adding on to the discussion that you're having currently. Consumer trust is very important when it comes to healthcare, especially in a digital space where in-person interaction is minimal. So how has Fitterfly managed to gain that trust? Also, as far as scaling the business is concerned, does the growth head of a high involvement category like healthcare need to think differently as compared to a low involvement category to engage the target audience?
Okay. So it's a very interesting question, right? So see, personally, I believe trust is always binary. It's either 0 or 1.
Yeah.
There's no midway here, right? And first impression matters. So as digital therapeutics is very new to India. So even though at world stage it has evolved, it's a $5 billion industry, and it is poised to poised to go to around 30 billion by 2030.
Okay.
But India, it's very new, right? So sector is new, brand is new. So how do you create that trust? So there we have experimented a lot, and still we are experimenting and learning every day. So the first person that talks to the people who are interested is our program advisors, our inside sales team.
Okay.
See, we are not, so in a typical D2C setup, what happens is a person wants some product, they go to the website, they surf, read about it, put them in cart and purchase it. Now in our sector where average order value is 16,000, 18,000, right? It's a very high involvement category, right? You need to have a lot of research material around it. People want to know more, they want to read more. So that is where we have started focusing more on the content that we have, the type of publications that we have, that our website which talks about how diabetes can be managed, right? What are the pros and cons? How will you be able to manage it? And our program advisors, right? We have a very good training team that we have developed in-house, which is working with these program advisors, advising them to talk in a very empathetic manner to these people. So it doesn't matter if they enroll or not. Our first duty is not revenue; it's to help these people. And I think that is where we are trying to build that.
Make them feel like we care for
Yes, absolutely, right, and that is our motto. So outcomes and helping people manage diabetes, and I think the community that we have just launched, I think that is where we are trying to engage more and more people and building that trust.
Right.
See, what happens is, let's assume that we are receiving 20,000 leads in a month, and let's say for conversation's sake, let's assume the conversion percent is 5%, 5 to 7%. Now, rest of the people, out of them, at least 60-70% would be very much interested. But why are they not purchasing? Because trust is a very big factor here. So we keep on engaging them. And after what we have seen is after 2-3 months, 5 to 10% of these people enroll into the program once they have that trust, because it's not a 100 rupees, 200 rupees product, right? And as a company, we believe that to get proper outcomes, you need to be enrolled in a minimum 3-month program, and 6 months program is ideal, right? We have also recently launched a 7 days freemium model where we are working on it, which basically gives a sense of how Fitterfly will help you. You just go install the app, you go through a 7 days journey where you can enter your food diaries, enter whatever you're eating, the food diaries, your blood sugar readings.
Basically like a trial period.
Sort of a trial, gives you a sense of what we are all about, so that customer also gets a sense of comfort. We are still experimenting on how to crack that, but that is one of these things that we have been doing.
Basically, I think it will help them to know what they're signing up for. If
Yes.
So I think covering that, next one would be that diabetes is fast gaining the status of a potential epidemic in India. And according to a WHO report, 8.7% of India's population suffers from diabetes. And while people living in tier 1 cities are quite receptive towards technology-backed therapeutics programs, those in tier 2, tier 3, or like we were discussing, like the major part of the rural India still finds it difficult to trust the credibility of a digital-led treatment for therapy. So how does Fitterfly plan to bridge this gap between tier 1 and tier 2/tier 3 cities and make India a truly diabetes-aware country?
So when we started our campaigns around 1.5 years back, we created those campaigns pan-India. But when we analyzed the data, what we realized was that the conversion percent was very low in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So at this point of time, from a B2C point of view, we are still focusing on tier 1 cities only, right? And some of the tier 2 cities which are technologically advanced. For example, cities like, so Jaipur is not a tier 1 city, but this, you can't call it, but it's a tier 1.5 cities, what I personally call. Cities like Jaipur, Ahmedabad, Coimbatore, Vizag, so many of the south cities. So these are the cities that currently we are targeting. Tier 2 cities is something that I understand. So in tier 2 cities, it's very difficult to help them understand about digital. So one is the knowledge gap, and second, I think, is the affordability also. But what we are trying to do is we are trying to create a lot of material. So see, on an average, a person suffering from diabetes, they spend around 15 to 20,000 a year on medicines, right? Per year. And if you are enrolled into our program and you bring down your HbA1c level, you can, first, your body age clock is reversed, and secondly, on the financial side also, right, you reduce it by at least 70 to 80%, right? But this level of information doesn't get passed to people who are in tier 2, tier 3. So we're trying to do that, but still I think we're a long way from there. Secondly, what we have started doing in the physician partnership vertical, we have on-field team in some of these smaller cities. Like we have started that, like in Indore, Raipur, Jabalpur. So in these cities, our DTX managers are working with a lot of doctors who are referring their patient to us. Because in these cities, if a doctor tells you that, okay, this program is good for you, enroll in this program, then the member has a lot of conviction. Okay, doctor has told me, I will do that. Instead of we targeting him, he coming via Facebook ad. So that strategy is different. Having said that, I think in the next 6 to 12 months, we will come up with a program which is very pocket friendly and which will help people in tier 2, tier 3 to manage their diabetes also. So it's in plans, but still I think it will take another year or so. But yeah, we are trying to manage this problem via physician partnership route.
I think that's what would help crack.
Correct, absolutely.
Another question that I have on the side is, so if somebody is coming through Fitterfly's website, of course they're signing up for the entire program. You have, like you said, you have a psychologist, you have a physician helping them out. Do you have any plans of making this kit available on marketplaces without the entire comprehensive support plan that they get from Fitterfly, just the CGI monitor or just the kit available on marketplaces?
So we are listed on Amazon, recently got listed, but the entire program, not just the kit, the entire program. Okay. So your welcome kit, all these sessions that we have, right? Unlimited consultation, nutritionist. Okay. So we have launched the entire program on Amazon, but we are discussing internally because there is merit in, because many people just want the sensor. And they want insights also. Yes. So we are in discussions internally to launch a program which will just have a sensor and some insights around it. And once that is happening, then we can list on Amazon also. So we have listed on Amazon. We got live on a corporate portal called Advantage Club, also gained some traction there also. Okay. But us being a very new category, people want to talk to someone before enrolling, before paying that amount of 14,000, 18,000. So our 12 months program is costing 20,000 and our 6 months is 16,000. So before paying this, they want to talk to a program advisor. So our 3 months program without the sensor, I saw some traction when we listed on Advantage Club, but we are very, very far away from when a person comes, surfs the website, reads about us, makes the payment and goes away. So that's a pure BTC approach, but I think we are very, very far from there. That's an ideal approach.
That will happen gradually when the brand is fully established and
Correct.
People are able to just trust the credibility of the brand by the name only, and maybe then we'll be able to.
And I think that is where what we recognize, that trust is something that we need to work upon.
Yes.
So
that takes time.
Correct. So see, program advisors, they're talking to the customers, helping them understand the program. You have your content, you have your communities, you have your nurture material, but we recognize that brand in today's world, right? People recognize brand by the number of touch points that they have. Right. So if I'm walking, I see a hoarding, I see a banner, I see an ad, it's listed somewhere, it is coming as a pamphlet, it's in the medical store. And that is the reason we are about to launch a branding campaign in Mumbai. So we'll be launching in the next 10 days. This is the first full-fledged branding campaign that we'll be doing. Okay. So we are coming on print.
So you have a mix of offline and online.
It's a mix of offline and online, right? So print plus digital plus some sort of BTL. So it's an experiment for us. We really want to see if that branding helps us increase that reach and awareness, because we are a very new brand in a very new space. So these sort of experiments, we keep on trying to understand the customer behavior well.
I that's all for today. I mean, do you have anything else that you'd like to share? Anything in specific that you think Fitterfly has cracked that nobody else has when it comes to just the digital space, marketing and growth? Anything else that you'd like to share?
I think the way we project ourselves to the consumers, right? So healthcare is treated as boring, right? When you talk about healthcare, the first image that comes to mind is, okay, health tech company, healthcare company. And that's a very stark difference between a B2C company and a healthcare, a proper B2C companies, right?
Yeah.
Because in terms of your creatives, your landing pages, right?
Yeah.
So I think that is where we are consciously working on improving these things so that we garner attention from all these
Make them
people.
more engaging.
Yeah, so we are very confident that once a person shows interest, right, and once they understand what our program offers, they will have interest in knowing more about us. That confidence we have. But the first stage comes in terms of the way you portray yourself, and it's a very difficult task right now because you need to be very concise on what you. Of course, every business wants revenue and bottom line, but we really want to make a change in people life, and the goal is to basically. Make sure that if someone says that, okay, I have been diagnosed with diabetes, the first thing that comes to their mind is, okay, let me try Fitterfly. So we want to become the first line of therapy for all chronic diseases. That's the
Does
bigger
Fitterfly have any plans to, right now it's diabetes and weight loss. Any plans to have any other plans in the future?
So we have. So we have developed a program in cardiovascular and hypertension.
Okay.
Right, we have worked with a very big pharma company on developing that, and I think in the next 1 or 2 quarters we'll be going live with that.
Okay.
So that's वो चल रहा है काम अभी.
So that will be the third offering then.
Third offering, right, correct.
Okay, it's been a great discussion, Vineet. Thank you so much for coming over and giving us your time.